Two to play in the third. Fun game here in the Twin Cities. Look at the moves by Edwards. Swashbuckling and Anthony Edwards skies. Are you kidding me, Ant-Man? Edwards! Yes, sir! He's here, ladies and
gentlemen. There's some ball players out there, Mitchie. You got some ball players, Mitchie.
Like what Grady would say, Andrew, I get those goosebumps every time I see that video, man. I get pumped up every time I watch the Minnesota Timberwolves video that our boy Spoons Jr. made. And shout out to him. He obviously released one of the hype videos the other day, and you can find that on our feed. This is the Daily Wolves Courtside. We are coming live to you right now. And, I got a couple people on the show with me. Andrew, as always, writes for Zone Coverage. He was there today, dropping all the big news about the Minnesota Timberwolves, previewing the Lakers, getting the interviews, his handles on the screen. So I would definitely go check him out if you missed any of that. We'll kind of get into that later in the show. But I got someone debuting on the episode right now, and that's going to be Amanda. She's going to be hopping on with us coming up here. We have a lot of things under the wraps that we don't want to announce completely yet, but she'll be coming on. And then we're going to look forward to having Amanda on. How you doing today, Amanda?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
No, welcome in. We're excited to have you, honestly. Obviously, you've watched the Minnesota Timberwolves for years. You watched in the playoffs last year. In the Nuggets series, I guess I'll start off with that kind of. How was the Western Conference Finals and the playoffs run for you from the fan perspective?
It was a crazy time. I feel like I can remember exactly where I was for every single major highlight reel, every single game. Yeah, it was crazy. I was fortunate enough to be at game 6 of the Denver game where we just blew them out. It was insane.
What was the atmosphere like in there? It was you were at the game. What was it like for people who've never been to a playoff game for the Timberwolves?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know how to describe it. I feel like I was somewhere else. My body was somewhere else, but everyone was on their feet just the whole time. It was, I don't even know. I think everyone was just so surprised because we came back and we won by 40 points, 50 even. I don't even remember. I just remember it was a very joyous moment to push for that game 7. But it was crazy to be there and watch that game. And then just the energy leaving Target Center, everyone screaming Wolves in 7. It's all very unified.
Love that.
It was a great feeling. But yeah, it's especially great. I mean, I started becoming a fan during the darkest times of the Timberwolves era when we had Ricky Rubio, which I love him. He's what got me into this.
It's the boy.
Darko, Andre Karolinko, that's kind of where I started my Timberwolves fandom. So just to be at this point and playing basketball at this level is it's everyone's dream come true. And here we are at the playoffs and just excited and hopeful for how far we'll get this year.
100%. Of course, we'll get into everybody's still joining in. We're kind of getting people into the show. The last thing I want to say is you talked about not only going to game 6, but just being there for the whole playoff run. Remember game 7? Where were you at when you saw them win game 7? What was that like? Did you scream? I don't know about you, but I was in the middle of a bar in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm an idiot. I'm the only one in a Wolves jersey. I'm crying as a grown man. Everyone's looking at me. What were you doing for your reaction?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was watching the game at Black Stack, and one of my friends who's a huge Wolves fan was randomly in town. So we were watching it there together, and I just remember us jumping in each other's arms and embracing and screaming, and I don't even know. I also remember the stress of leading up to the fourth quarter when things weren't looking super great, and just pacing the brewery, and then vividly jumping in each other's arms and crying and screaming. And I don't know, I probably blacked out during that moment of time, but it was great.
Well, 100%. All right, guys. Well, let's dive into the memories that we're going to recreate this season for everybody. And I guess to start off with, I want to just know what what you guys have for your X factor in the series. It could be any player, right? On the Timberwolves, you got to pick just one player. Who's the X factor? I'll kick it to you, Andrew, first. In your eyes, that gets the job done in the series against the Lakers. Oh, we don't have you on audio. We don't got you, man. We'll give it. We'll kick it to you, Amanda. Oh, he's here. He's here.
No, Amanda, go for it.
No, you can go. Floor is yours.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Had it muted because dogs were being obnoxious. Sorry. To me, after being around the team this week, it's Jaden. Like, they have an insane amount of confidence that Jaden's going to come out and score 25 a game. And talked about it today, that he knows he's going to get blitzed every pick and roll. He knows that he's going to get blitzed off the ball. He's going to have to give it up, and it's going to be Jaden, Mike, Nikhil, those type of players. I think Jaden probably play 45 minutes a game, and they have a ton of weight on his shoulders. He's going to be the guy that has to get it in the corner and drive and try and make something out of it when Ant does get blitzed. And hopefully this is Jaden's moment. I mean, he came alive from January until now. He had a pretty tough April, but I mean, if Jaden's going to be the Jaden of March, that changes the whole series for the Lakers. It's, I mean, if he's scoring 20 points a game, it's a completely different lineup that the Wolves can put out.
Oh, 100%. And we saw it last year in the series with Dallas. Jaden had some big games, and in the Phoenix series, he had some big games. He can't just be a 3-point shooter and stand in the corner. Jaden's such a confidence guy, Andrew. He's got to get his confidence early in the series. He's got to establish it in game one. They got to get him involved, because when Jaden's that way, he just takes off, and his defense is elite. I guess I'm a little bit worried about him guarding Luka Doncic. I think he's going to be on him primarily to start the series. Are you nervous at all about, Jaden trying to guard Luka?
No one's going to stop Luka. Like, let's just, I think that's one of those things that unfortunately, like, Wolves fans are going to have to accept early. Like, no one is stopping Luka. He's going to score 30 to 40 points every single night. He's going to have 9 or 10 assists. He's going to have 10 rebounds. It doesn't matter if it's Jaden, Jalen Clark, TJ Shannon's getting thrown out like in the Twitterverse. Julius Randle, you had mentioned Naz Reid off air a couple days. Like, it's really not going to matter. It's a lot more about who they can put on Luka that's going to make him work. So who can they put on Luka that's going to make him think? Yeah. And Jaden's one of the smartest defenders in the league. His fouls are down this season. He's long, athletic, can close. He understands where everyone on the floor is going to be at all times. I don't think he's going to stop him. I don't think he's even going to slow Luka down. But if Luka has to break a sweat on offense, and then the Wolves can come and make him work on defense, eventually, it's like a boxing fight. Eventually, hopefully in game 4, game 5, he's going to start getting worn down just from having to go up against Jaden for 40 minutes a night.
No, I agree. It's weird that they came out with the schedule and they're giving so many days off in between the games, which is honestly, like, in my opinion,
League wants it to go 7.
Yep. In my opinion,
that's what it is. League wants it to go 7.
It would probably favor Minnesota if it was closer together, because the physicality to wear him down, that's how you beat the Lakers, is how you get in a 40-year-old LeBron's head, how you wear his body down, how you wear Luka Doncic down, who's a little bit banged up going into the series. So it'll be crazy to see, like, what they do, how they game plan. And Jaden didn't have so much success last year doing it. So I think he's a completely different player. I saw him blossom in front of our eyes this year. And so I really do. I like that. I like the Jaden McDaniels pick. How about you, Amanda? Who do you got as your X factor player in the series?
It's a tough question, but I think I'm going to have to go with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He really proved himself during the playoffs last year. And I think just having that experience under his belt, he's just such a good defensive player. Yeah. And when he's hot, he's hot. And when he's guarding anyone, they're in foul trouble offensively. And we can, he's so good at picking steals. And I just think that having the success that he had last season, he's going to come into this series feeling good and feeling ready to defend and protect.
If you were going to pick like a points per game in this series that Nikhil's going to average, what do you feel like he's going to average?
I don't know. That's a tough question because I feel like even if he's not like super hot and scoring that many points, like it could be one of his best games of his career. So it's hard to say. But he also could get hot. So, I mean, as long as he's averaging around 10 points and exploding on defense, I think that will be a big asset for the Wolves going forward.
I'm a little worried on Nikhil's size in the series. I saw it last year when they matched up against the Mavericks that Nikhil just could not stay with Luka Doncic. I think that's my only fear is can he handle it? And I'm not sure. If there's foul trouble with Mike Conley, then Nikhil's going to get thrown in. That's what we've always seen. I'm curious to see in the beginning of the series how long that goes. Do they throw Dante in there because Dante's also smaller? Do they pivot? Do they go a different way defensively and maybe go towards like Naz Reid, Jalen Clark, Julius Randle, just somebody that's a little bit beefier? That's going to be interesting to see with Nikhil. But yeah, he's an impact player, and honestly, it might be one of the last times we see Nikhil Alexander-Walker in a Timberwolves uniform because it's going to be hard to retain him, guys, once we go into the free agency this year. I think if I was going to go with an X Factor player, I think I'm going to go with Dante DiVincenzo. That is my guy. I love him so much. And I think Dante proved with the Knicks he's a playoff riser. And so another guy I'm a little bit worried about the size against Doncic, but I think he's a playoff riser. I think him and Anthony Edwards have shown that that's what they're going to do when the time comes. And I think he's just, you see it in the Detroit Pistons game when he's just standing up for his team and getting in there, getting physical. I like that. I like that mentality. I think you need that physicality. You need a guy who's going to stand up for your teammates. I'm going to go with Dante DiVincenzo as my guy. There's also, the point guard problem that I kind of brought up to you too a little bit ago, which is going to be Mike Conley. Is it Nikhil? Is it Mike? How does it change as the series goes on? Because the point guard role is going to be weird. Andrew, we think Mike Conley probably starts at the point guard, but are you worried at all that he's going to kind of bounce out and might end up being a different guy? Or is it just that Mike's going to play less minutes?
I think this is just a tough series for Mike. Like he's objectively, you're not going to have him on Austin Reeves. Like Reeves is such a gifted ball handler and scorer. So then it kind of goes to who can Mike guard? Dorian Finney-Smith, that's a tough matchup. Rui's a tough matchup. I think there's a place for Mike. He's going to be starting this entire season or this entire series. I would be shocked if Dante or Nikhil starts just because Mike is such a calming presence. But after that initial 6-minute starting rotation, you're probably going to see him more so line up with Gabe Vincent's minutes, and maybe we're just seeing Mike 20 minutes a game, and either Nikhil or Dante, whoever's hot that day, probably gets to close. If there's one thing, Finch isn't going to be afraid to have those conversations with these guys at this point. This team is locked in. They trust him. They know what the goal is. And at the end of the day, Mike has already gone to the bench once. I don't think he's going to be sitting here going, man, I've earned this starting spot, or I've earned these closing minutes. I think what's tough with Mike, and we talked about it with Grady, is just his importance is so huge for this team. His emotional maturity, his ability to set up the offense. I think ideally what the Wolves, their plan in game one, if you want to think of it that way, is they're going to try and make the Lakers play how the Wolves play. They're going to play with Rudy. They're going to play with Randall. They're going to probably have Mike out there for 25, 30 minutes, and they're going to try and make them guard the pick and roll. And if Mike's hitting threes at 50%, it could work. What really is difficult, though, is if Mike does go to the bench, that's going to just be really tough, especially in fourth quarters, because then all of it falls on Ant and Julius. And we've kind of seen how they respond in clutch times. Like, I just don't know if Ant is ready for that. And Julius, doesn't always process as fast as he needs to in those clutch moments. So it's going to be interesting. Like, this series, I think what's going to be shocking for people is just how many adjustments there's going to be made on both sides. Like, both teams match up terribly against each other. The Lakers can play small and completely pick apart Rudy, but they are also big. Their entire starting lineup is going to be between like 6'5" and 6'9". Like, that sucks for the Wolves. But on the flip side, Rudy can punish interior players. The Wolves are a pace team. They play really good defense. No one on the Lakers is going to be able to stop Ant. It's going to be really fun to watch because there are going to be moments where both Finch and JJ Redick are like really grasping at straws at what to do.
I like that. I think you're going to see, as the series goes on, tons of different changes. You're going to see certain games that are super high scoring games too, because that's just kind of people just picking on each other's weaknesses over and over. I mean, we could see, I think you brought this up, Andrew, the other day. We might see 130, 140, both teams.
I would almost guarantee it. I would almost guarantee it. One of these games is going to be just a track meet. Whether it's Finch or JJ, someone is going to say, we're running this game and we're going to try and run the other team out of the gym, because Luka doesn't like to run. Bron doesn't, at this stage in his career, doesn't like to run. It might be the Wolves that in game one just say, we are fast breaking, running on every rebound, and you have a 140 to 135 game.
I mean, it could be insane, but also so fun to watch. I love watching shootouts in basketball. It was kind of like the Nuggets game when we went into double overtime. That game was just an absolute shootout. We couldn't stop anybody. The Nuggets couldn't stop anybody. So I guess that's always good for TV. We're going to go to a quick ad break and we'll be right back, guys.
Today's show is also brought to you by Better, the sports betting app brought to you by Jake Paul. Sign up with our code, TheDailySPN, to get a deposit match up to $200, meaning if you deposit $200, Better will match that and give you $200 in free bets. Better is currently available in 34 out of the 50 states in the U.S., including Minnesota. If you see your state in the purple, that means you are eligible to download Better and start winning money today. Me personally, I usually find myself taking Anthony Edwards over on three-pointers made, which I'm actually taking tonight against the Thunder, along with Jalen Williams to go under 24.5 points plus assists. Again, sign up with the code TheDailySPN, all one word, to receive a $200 deposit match and start winning money today.
I think the bigs that Minnesota has, they're going to be key to the Timberwolves winning in this series. We just kind of talked about it a little bit. Amanda, I think Rudy Gobert is going to be huge in this series. We've seen him really form back into kind of his old self when he was with the Utah Jazz, which was a dominant big in the league. Over these last 10 games, he's averaged around 18.8 points, about 14 or 12 or 14 rebounds, somewhere around there. So he's putting up absolute dominant numbers along with being a really good defender again. He's so important in this series. I think, the Lakers, they're going to go small ball against the Timberwolves. So how important is it for Gobert, Nas, Randall? I know you talked a little bit about Randall. How do you feel like they can impact the game as big players in this series?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Gobert's had a great last 3 games. Even you're saying he's playing like he's playing like he was playing in Utah like 7 years ago. But I think if he continues that energy on, especially the way that him and Conley are able to play together is it's so good, them going back and forth. I think that will be really difficult for the Lakers to defend. I think Randall, I've stood by this. I think he definitely needed to get over the learning curve of getting with the Wolves and meshing super well. But he's honestly been a constant the entire season. And I feel like people just now are realizing oh, Julius is good. And we need him to win. He's good. I'm kind of happy he's here. But I think if he obviously he needs to come into this series with more confidence than how he played postseason with the Knicks last season. But I think he definitely has grown with his confidence, especially like him and Ant, I think will be a really good matchup because I feel like last year we really struggled with Luka and Kyrie, and I know now we have Luka and LeBron, but like that's just a completely that's a different dynamic on a whole nother level. Like I think if Julius and Ant can be hot, like we're gonna dominate the games, and I think that we the bigs and Nas too, when he comes off the bench, like it's like we got a whole nother energy, especially like him and Dante, they play so well together. And it's like we got a second fire coming in because any of these players, in my opinion, like they could start on the bench or they could be the starting five. But I think our bench has so much depth, and I think that that will definitely help us in the long run, especially if we can tire Luka out.
Do we think that Anthony Edwards can handle the pressure? This fan wants to know. How do you guys feel about this, Andrew?
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Why? Why do you think he can handle the pressure? I mean, we've seen it in the playoffs so far, but this is going to be a new type of blitzing. I feel like it's going to be like Phoenix, where Phoenix threw everything at Ant. He handled the pressure. But now this is the Lakers team where I feel like they're better. They're more physical. Like, I mean, it's like LeBron, it's Finney Smith, it's Rui, it's all these guys, Austin Reeves. They're fast, they're quick, and they're going to be all around the court. How does Ant do it, man?
So Ant is the most blitzed player in the NBA this year, and he is going to finish 6th in MVP voting. I don't think blitzing bothers him as much as it's made out to be. What really gets Ant caught up is when he thinks he needs to do everything. And when you're getting blitzed and you think that you need to do everything, it's easy to turn the ball over or huck up three or make a mistake. Truthfully, I mean, Ant said everything right today. He had a media eval. He literally to a T said everything right. He needs to get off the ball. He needs to immediately pass on the blitz. He's going to have all 5 players' eyes on him on defense the entire time. He has to avoid gaps. He can't dribble the air out of the ball. Like, he said everything right. What I've learned covering the team up close this year and just from writing about the Wolves for the past 3 years is it is a really poor decision to bet against Ant. And if he is truly locked in, he doesn't care about the 3-point record anymore. He just wants to win this. He could win it. I mean, they are going to leave Mike Conley open. They're going to leave Jaden open. They're going to leave Rudy on the short roll open. If Ant truly gets what he has to do as a facilitator, I mean, it could just be that easy for the series. I mean, the Lakers don't have the same depth as the Wolves. They're top end talent. The Wolves can kind of handle those 3 guys better. And the Lakers, if we're if we're a quarter into the first game and Ant has 6 assists, their entire game plan has to get thrown out, because what do you do? Like, if you can't trick Ant into going hero ball, what do you do if you're the Lakers? I don't think pressure bothers him. I think he loves it. Again, being around the team, everyone knows that if it's an ESPN game, he's showing up. And I think he is so excited to knock LeBron James out of the playoffs that he might just do it.
I mean, we saw in the Phoenix series last year. That's why there's so many parallels to everyone was so scared to match up against the Suns last year. It was the worst matchup the Wolves could have got. This top end heavy team with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and all those guys. And then we go into this year and it's kind of the same thing with the Lakers. It's that top end talent, but not a deep bench. Minnesota, again, we knew what was going to happen in the Phoenix series. They blitzed Ant. We knew they were going to throw the house on him, and he became this all-time MVP superstar player we watched in the Phoenix series. That was his best series of the whole playoffs, in my opinion. And it was insane watching Anthony Edwards play at that high of a level, but they just didn't have an answer for Anthony Edwards. And the Wolves were making them punish in other ways. That's what they need to do in this series to be successful. Before we wrap up the show, guys, we're also partnered with SeatGeek. That is the best ticket app out there. And if you don't already have tickets for the Timberwolves upcoming playoff games, you can go on SeatGeek right now, or download it and put our promo code The Daily Wolves, all one word, in, and we're hooking you guys up with $20 off your next order on SeatGeek. That's right, promo code The Daily Wolves. Go on SeatGeek. That's the best place to go today. Andrew, you've been posting stuff all day. You were up close in practice the last couple of days. Anything you want to share that maybe behind the scenes we haven't seen? Anything that fans should know behind the scenes for the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Joe Ingles is playing Luka Doncic on the scout team.
Okay.
Terrence Shannon Jr. is LeBron James, and I
can see the comp.
Yep, I think Rob Dillingham was Archie Goodwin. I don't know. The Wolves are scouting deep. They have like 12 guys like on the scout team. They're ready. Like I think they would almost prefer it if they could play the game tomorrow. Like they are ready to go. Ant looked locked in. Mike's locked in. Rudy spoke today, and he's kind of loving it. Like they asked him about the Luka side of it, of like, you know, playing against Luka being underappreciated, and he leaned right into it and was like, "Yup, that was one shot. I did good the rest of the series." So like they're ready. And it's the other thing I would say is it's on my Twitter, but for the Twitter coaches out there, Chris Finch had a pretty solid message that if things go awry, he will go on Twitter and start looking at advice. So we're all involved in this. It takes a village.
Let's go. We're gonna single-handedly the Twitter community, guys. We're gonna change the trajectory of the series. I think it's crazy to hear, or when I watch Anthony Edwards, he just seems so locked in. Like when I watched your posts and your interview with Ant, I don't know if I've seen an interview like that from Anthony Edwards other than when they were in the Denver series, and he was having interviews where he's like, "No, we're gonna see you in Game 7. Like we'll be there," and it's like that is the Anthony Edwards it's scary when you see it, and he's always stood on business. He's excited to play guys like Kevin Durant, LeBron James. It's kind of weird parallels again with the two different teams and the players. It's a big stage. They're going on ABC. No, I can't wait. I also thought weird thing to think about, but I guess Anthony Edwards just physique, like look wise, he looks more in shape than I've ever seen him look going into the playoffs out of every year we've had him. Or even when he was in the interview, I'm just like, you can just tell. And I think that's huge too. It's probably something that's overlooked. But it's been we're gonna wrap it up. It's been great having you both on today. We appreciate everyone for joining. We had over 400 people in here, which is super awesome. On a Wednesday off day. I know the NBA play-in tournament's going tonight, so definitely check that out. And then we'll be posting content all week, so keep an eye out. We always got surprises. I know there is going to be another hype video coming out. I just don't know when we're going to post it, but it will be out before Saturday's game versus the Los Angeles Lakers. It's again, it's been great having you both on, and as always, go Wolves. Sweet.